Hello, hello. I'm Jess, and this is Patient POV. And today you're going to hear from Alyssa, a friend of mine who we've started a friendship through Instagram. And so it's kind of cool that we're able to connect through technology. And then we've done the Zoom meeting here. And I've also had the chance I will soon be on her podcast. So I'm very excited for you to listen to what she has to say here. She talks about living your chronically fulfilled life, and she does one-on-one coaching. So it was really awesome that we were able to get her and see what she has to say. So that's what you can look forward to this episode. I have been working very hard this week on prepping some things for the upcoming weeks to come. Next week school starts, and so it's just a matter of getting through the routines, establishing them, and hopefully this will be another good semester up ahead. And so before I forget, please subscribe wherever you're listening from. I appreciate it. And if you want to find me, you can find me on Instagram at Jess_and_Elda, which is ELDA. I've also started posting more on TikTok as well, just clips of the podcast episodes, some good highlight things that got said. And so you can find on TikTok at Patient POV. If you're also looking to hear more about this on any other platform, we also post on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube as well, where YouTube is a little bit more of a collection of full episodes, the clips that get posted on TikTok, and then on Instagram as well. That's just my Jess_and_Elda. So yeah, if you want to subscribe, I appreciate the love. And yeah, I hope everyone has a great week ahead. Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. As we get started, do you want to just introduce yourself and give a little bit of your health background and who you are?
Yes. Okay. My name is Alyssa Truelove, and I am a fellow chronic illness warrior. And a little bit about my journey is I was diagnosed about over a decade ago. So I was 19, and I believe I was 19, brain fog right kicking in. And I had emergency surgery. So I actually had emergency surgery where I was in so much pain one day and I kept pushing it off, pushing it off. It's nothing until the point where it was definitely alarming. So I went to the emergency. And then through being in the emergency, they ended up doing emergency surgery. So they thought my ovary was torted and twisted when they looked in. So they were really concerned, especially because I was so young. And then once they got in, they realized I had stage 4 endometriosis.
Mm.
And when they told me, so I wake up, I'm out of surgery, my mom's there, and they said, okay, we found stage 4 endometriosis. And I'm like, endo what? I had no idea what it was and how much it would impact the rest of my life. So that's kind of where my journey began. And from there, it was a battle, and it still is a battle today. I like to say I wear different armor now in the battle. So, over the next decade, I would go to countless doctor's appointments, specialist appointments. I was on pills, I was on Lupron, I was on injections, everything you can possibly think of, laparoscopic surgeries, for something endo adjacent related, I'm going to say. I also ended up having a hysterectomy at 27. So about 5 years ago, that happened. And then fast forward to a couple years ago, where I came to this point where things started getting really, really bad again. And I went to my doctor and I was like, you know what? I'm going to face this differently. I'm not going to keep doing what I was doing. I'm going to change kind of the way I operate. So when I did that, something clicked in my brain. It was like I had this little epiphany and I realized oh my gosh, I give all of my energy, everything I have to work, to the jobs that I do. And I love those jobs, I do, but I'm giving all that I have to that. And I'm a systems nerd, so I love systems efficiency, all of that. So I'm doing all of that. And then everything when it comes to my life and my health, I'm throwing by the wayside. It doesn't matter. I'll do what I can, the bare minimum. And then I was like, what am I doing? I need to flip the script and I need to start treating my illness like the full-time job it is. I need to show up to doctor's appointments like I am going to a meeting. I need to start being organized. I need to start putting the time and dedication into my health that I do everything else in my life. So I started doing that. And then I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. So now I got two diagnoses. I say, what is chronic illness? Like Pokemon cards? I'm not trying to catch them all here. um, but yeah, so I started to treat things so differently and advocating for myself and taking time and really making huge lifestyle changes when it comes to my job and different things. And that kind of led me down to the path that as I started doing this, it made a massive impact in my life and the way that I live it and how I feel. And I feel more empowered. And I like to say I use the term CEO of my chronic illness. So I put myself in that power. I am in charge. And then I was like, I can't gatekeep this. I need to tell people, I need to share. How can I get this message across? How can I use the energy that I do have to help people? So I founded Chronically Fulfilled Life, where I support other chronic illness warriors in their journeys and helping them implement systems, efficiency, and mindset, all of those things to help them through organizing, energizing, and really thriving in their chronic illness. So I know that was a lot. Sorry, I get in
No.
my zone.
No, that was awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Just before we jump into a lot of things, do you mind just explaining a little bit about what endometriosis is and what it means to be stage 4 versus stage 1 or something like that?
Yeah, I can for sure. So endometriosis, the stage, which a lot of people don't know, the stage actually doesn't equal how much pain you are in.
Mm.
So you could be a stage 1 and be just as much pain as a stage 4. And from my knowledge, and I'm always trying to research more, and I always say I'm not a doctor, so don't
Yeah.
don't hold me to it. But what it is, for the different stages is how much of it they find in your body. So how much of it there. And then you know what? I'm gonna go, where is my trusty resource here? Okay. So I always have this because the Happy Pelvis, I don't know if you've ever connected with them.
No.
They're in the Instagram world, but they create, I have it here, my little knowledge guide,
Oh.
awesome resources to help people in their journey to know what it is. And this was actually from a petition that was going around. I live in Canada. I'm in Ontario.
Yes,
So,
yes.
oh, are you? Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Okay. Well, this is a
Yeah.
petition that uh, that Happy Pelvis and Endo Events were doing. So endometriosis, I'm going to give you what they said here because their terms are much more profound. Endometriosis is a systematic condition where tissue that is similar but not identical to the lining of the uterus can be found throughout the body. The tissue creates inflammation that forms lesions and growths that can cause chronic pain, organ damage, infertility, and have significant impact on quality of life. And let me tell you, it does have a significant impact on quality of life. And the fact that there are even like resources, people are talking about it, we're getting vocal and active is incredible because when I was diagnosed over a decade ago, nobody in my life or my circle knew what it was.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So speaking on that and also tying in the fibromyalgia, what have been some of your challenges with all of this coming about over the last 10 years or so?
Yeah, of course. So a lot of the challenges that I faced was one, I spent I spent 50% of my time pretending my chronic illnesses didn't exist. So I
Mm.
acted as if nothing was wrong with me and I would just keep going. And the other half, I was trying to survive. I was literally trying everything in my path to survive, get more energy, push through, push through, push through. It's not a good way to go. Not a good way to go, I tell you. That leads to burnout. That leads to your body shutting down. It's not a good way to go. So it was really being faced. One of my biggest challenges, I think, is mindset and being faced with this. These are the challenges. This is what is happening with my body. I need to go through the grieving process because I think everybody should totally do that when they're diagnosed with a chronic illness because you become a different person.
Mm.
And this new person, it's not bad, it's not negative, it's nothing like that. It's just new. So it's almost like you're getting to know this new version of yourself and really spending time and seeing like, what do you like to do? What do you like to wear? What foods do you like or can eat? What do you do for fun? What does your body need to do to recharge? And really getting to know it. And it took me a long time to realize that. So that was a huge challenge. Another challenge, I think, is obviously doctor's appointments. And that's why I'm so passionate about that. And I have a whole like mini course dedicated to it because I always thought that you go to the doctor, they help you, they tell you what's wrong, they give you what you need, and you go on your way.
Mm.
Not correct. Not correct at all.
No.
You need to work so much harder. And especially something like invisible illnesses like endometriosis and fibromyalgia, you have to advocate for yourself so much. And
Mhm.
you need to show up. I can't tell you the amount of times where it's all in your head, or I would be bawling my eyes out. I couldn't even get to the point where I told them what was wrong because they would talk at me and I would just start bawling and then I would be shaking. So that's why now, like I said, when I say I prepare like I'm going to a meeting, I have all of my notes written out. I have a template that I use that my clients and my community has because having that, at least if I get to the point where I shut down, I can give them the piece of paper. I
Mm.
have everything I need. I can give them that piece of paper. Right. So I think that was one of my biggest challenges was doctor's appointments and learning that you have to advocate for yourself because no one else will. And being open with your community, like your support system, and being honest can go a
Mm.
long way. Because I used to hide, even from my parents, my family, I would hide how I was feeling. And it did no good because then they didn't know how they could show up for me.
Mm.
So I
Yeah.
think those were some of my biggest challenges.
Yeah, that's a good one for sure. Speaking of the healthcare side of things, so of course you're in Ontario, I've learned now.
Yes.
How has navigating like the Canadian healthcare system? I know there's people who are from the States or from different countries. How has that been navigating that system? Like wait times, we talk about changing doctors if you need to. How have you done with that?
Yes, I think definitely there are pros and cons to every healthcare system, 100%. I think OHIP, which is our Ontario healthcare plan, it helps massively because I think when it comes to my surgeries alone, because I think I've had 4 or 5 surgeries. So that
Mhm.
alone, I can't imagine the cost that would, well, I can imagine, and it would be hundreds of thousands of dollars would
Yeah.
add up. But at the same time, with that, yes, you're on wait times. I'm still on a wait now to see a rheumatologist for pain management and fibromyalgia. And I have been on a wait for over a year. I am on a wait list, which I keep calling and no response, but there's an endometriosis clinic in McMaster and Hamilton. I've
Mm.
never received a call back from, right? And this is over probably, I think I started reaching out to them 5 years ago, right? And because there's not, okay, I'm just going to use this stat because it,
Yeah, yeah.
um, so Canada in the last 20 years, so 1 in 10 individuals that are assigned female at birth will have endometriosis. So it's the same stat as something like diabetes or other things, But in the last 20 years, Canada-wide, there was only $7 million spent on research, which is
Wow.
alarming. It's very alarming. And other conditions are receiving 150 times. So even just that alone, where the money is going, is in Canada, we don't have enough specialists. And that's actually what the petition that we went out for, that they're actually going to Queen's Park on the 19th, I believe, to talk about. The petition is talking about, let's bring this education into schools, because it's so important that from a young age, especially when you're learning that you are getting your menstrual cycle and that's happening, to talk about what is not normal. Because being in pain that stops you from doing anything, like stops you from working or stops you from participating in life activities, is not normal, right?
Yeah.
But your body only knows it's normal, like its own normal,
Yeah.
right? So I know for myself, something else, I guess. When I was born, I had surgery when I was born. So I had gastrocesis. I always say it wrong.
That's okay.
Where your insides essentially are born on the outside. So they have to kind of sew you back up, put everything in and sew you up. So my doctors have said, once I finally got through different specialists, that I've probably been living in an amount of pain my entire life, but
Mm.
that was my normal. Right? So we only know what our body knows. So I think the education piece is huge, as well as specialists. So for endometriosis, there are not enough specialists whatsoever. So even if you get a referral, for you to get into the specialist and to get the proper care, not to mention what care is available, right? So
Right.
I have had laparoscopic um, laparoscopic oh, laparoscopy for endometriosis. But the
Mhm.
gold standard care is excision surgery. So, where they actually go in and take from essentially the root and take it out. But that was something that was never even discussed with me by doctors, right?
Mm.
So, it's just, you have a little bit, like you said, the wait times where you're referred to, there is a lot of that red tape that happens. And I think it's definitely, like I said, especially with endometriosis, we are standing up, we are using our voices and trying to be heard about that. So specialists, and also the amount of funding going into schools. So something like, let's say, Western University and their med program, having resources available. So if somebody wants to specialize in being an endometriosis specialist, they have somebody that they can go through to get that, right? So we don't have enough doctors for people to learn from to get more doctors, right? So
Right.
it's a pattern that's happening. So I
Yeah.
think definitely voices are being heard, is being talked about, which is amazing. And you see it and it's being talked about, which is huge. Um, I definitely, yeah. So there's definitely pros and cons for sure. A lot of
Yeah.
my clients are actually US based that I work
Mm.
with. So for them, going through insurance is huge. So sometimes their insurance only covers certain doctors, certain treatments, and different things like that. Um, so that's, I can't imagine. And I work with them. I don't help them in that regard by means, but supporting them in how to advocate and, make those next steps there.
Yeah.
Another thing, brain fog. I'm like, I
No, you're
just had a thought in the top of my head. Well, medications. So that's another thing, is when you have a chronic illness, and I know this is the same for, I think, a lot of chronic illnesses. Some aren't covered by certain medical plans. I know
mm.
when I was on Lupron, which, do your research. I definitely do your research on that one. If I were to do it again, not something I would go down, but anyways, but it was 15,000, or sorry, $1,500 an injection.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So and I know a lot of other drugs and medications for chronic illnesses are very high cost, and some of them aren't covered, even if you have like the best medical plans, right? So I think there's definitely work to be done.
Yeah.
But I think we are privileged in so many ways.
Yeah.
So it's using your voice and speaking up. Mhm.
For sure. And just to put a note there, you mentioned $7 million went towards endometriosis, even though it's a 1 in 10, so same statistic as diabetes. I just looked it up as well because I was trying to recall exactly how much, but it's about $1.5 billion went towards diabetes research in or cost of treatment in Ontario alone. So that's such a crazy difference in that almost the same statistics, but that so much less is going into it. So that's awesome that you're helping advocate and helping others learn to advocate for that as well. Because it's not talked about enough, specifically
No.
in elementary school and high school when they're
Mhm.
really going through it and don't have anyone to
Yeah.
turn to.
And
For
I think
sure. So
there's
that's awesome.
so much misinformation as well. And I even, somebody that has the chronic illness, because there's only so many places you could look or search, I had misinformation told to me and others have. So, really doing your research, because even some doctors might not be able to give you all the information you need.
Mm.
And that is when advocating for yourself and realizing you need to maybe go to the next doctor or be referred, and really using your voice is super important because, like I said, the description I read about what endometriosis is was not what I was told when I was diagnosed. Right.
Right.
So it's learning and making sure you're getting that accurate information.
For sure, for sure. And finding the resources that are providing that accurate information. Yeah,
100%.
100%. So what would if you can think of one, what would a daily life look like for you?
Yes. Okay. So let's go. So today, for example, I woke up and, like I said, do you know the spoon theory?
Yes. But
Okay.
if I don't know if everyone knows it, so if
Oh,
you want to
okay.
just quick do like a quick little overview on what the spoon theory is, that would be great.
Yeah. Okay. So the spoon theory, if you are a chronic illness warrior, you need to look this up. A fellow chronic illness warrior, Christine Mizadinero, I think is how you say your last name. If you're listening, Christine, we love you. She created the spoon theory. So she was in a diner one day. She had or has lupus, and she was trying to explain to her friend what lupus was. So she was in a diner, so all she had was spoons. So she used her spoons and she said, for a healthy person, let's say everyone gets 10 spoons in your day. For a healthy person, if you wake up, you have a shower, you get ready, you do your makeup, your hair, you eat breakfast, you're going to give up 1 spoon for that. Okay. And then you're leaving the house. Let's say you have 9 spoons left for your day where you can decide you're going to use them at work. Maybe you're going to go work out after work. You're going to make some dinner, meet a friend for a drink, and watch some TV before bed. And then maybe you go to sleep and you still got 2 extra spoons. Now, for myself or another chronic illness warrior, you get out of bed, just the act of getting out of bed is 1 spoon. You are having a shower. If you're not washing your hair, maybe it's 2 spoons. But if you're washing your hair and it's like a full body shower, I get like 4 or 5 spoons.
Yeah.
You make breakfast. Think about what you're making for breakfast. There's spoons. Getting ready. There's another couple spoons. So let's say, and I'll downplay it. Let's say you have 5 spoons when you're leaving the house. You only have 5. And let's say work takes 3 of those spoons. Now you're left with 2 spoons and you have to decide what you're going to use those for. Are you going to make yourself dinner? Are you going to do an activity? Are you going to work out? But you can't really work out because you don't have enough spoons to work out. So it's really the amount of energy. Energy is your most valuable sense of currency. And that is why actually one of the resources I created is the Spoon Saver Audit, where we go through and we see what are you using your spoons on in a day and how can we help you to manage and conserve those, because you want to save spoons for what you actually want to do. Like I'm going on a girls' weekend this weekend. So I'm in super saving spoons mood this week so that I have some spoons for the weekend. Or, for example, making breakfast. What I try to do is most week I'll make overnight oats. So
Mm.
I don't have to think about what I'm going to eat. I don't have to make it. I grab and go. So I'm saving spoons on that. Same with filling pill medications, like the little organizers. I don't have to think about how many pills, if I've taken them, if I haven't taken them, because we've all been there, going in all the bottles, taking them, seeing when I have to take them, like organizing those. Even something as planning out when you're washing your hair, right? So there's so many ways that we can save our spoons. So
Yeah.
I have been definitely in a mission of saving and like creating routine. So today I got up. Today was hair washing day. Does it look lovely? No.
Me too.
I washed my hair today, but I knew I had a busy day ahead. So I have a lot of stuff. I'm announcing something in my business tomorrow, which is exciting, which I can probably
Ooh,
share here
spicy.
after. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll tell you because by the time this launches. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it's oh my gosh. See, brain fog. It's real. It is a
No,
real
it's a hundred
thing.
percent. It's 100% real. You were saying you took a shower and you were doing
Oh,
your hair.
yes. I was doing my hair and then I was really busy on my computer today. So I was doing a lot of stuff on my
Right.
computer. So I didn't want to use my extra energy to put makeup on. So sans clean face today.
You
Um,
got me with a clean face today
right?
too, actually.
I was
Yeah.
like,
It's like,
no makeup today. And
yeah.
that's something that I'm really trying to do. And I'm getting more comfortable is showing up authentically. Like just because I don't have makeup on doesn't mean I'm not valid or have authority on talking and helping people. Right. And I think it's a mindset shift for me. Because I think growing up, having your hair done and putting makeup on means you were presentable. Right.
Right.
So I'm definitely rewiring my brain in that way. So I did some work on my computer. I had breakfast, hung out with my fur babies, and then after lunch, I was feeling I was kind of having like a low point where I was running out of energy. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have a nap. I'm gonna have a nap. And I had a nap and I didn't feel bad about it. And that's another retraining my brain is realizing sometimes I need to do that, especially because so normally how I kind of plan my day is by about 3 o'clock, all my have to do stuff is done because I know after that, in order for me to save energy to make dinner or do anything else, I kind of shut off then. So because I knew we were doing this a little bit later in the day, I wanted to switch up my day so I had the energy and I could be here and have myself and be good. But on those flare days, when flare days happen, that derails your whole plan, right? And they can pop up. That's the thing with flares is you could be living your life, doing your thing, and then bam, they hit you like a brick wall.
Yeah. That is very true. Um, yeah, so thank you so much for sharing that. Uh, my next question would be just, has there been any resources in particular? I know you make your own, so we're definitely going to reference you as well, but has there been any other resources that you've turned to get correct information or that has been helpful in finding strategies or those different types of things? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so for endo events,
Mm,
they put out a lot of really incredible resources or partner with people that have different resources on education. The
mm.
Happy Pelvis, like I said, makes really cool graphic designs in different ways. As funny as it sounds, Instagram and TikTok
No,
are
yeah.
do your research because not all information is created equally. But I think that that's a place where you can find things because it's real people showing up and sharing what they do. So I think for like tips or hacks and that kind of stuff, it's good. And then talking to other people, like this conversation, right? Different podcasts, listening to other people's stories and what they've been through and what they've done, how they've advocated for themselves, I think is huge too.
Yeah, awesome, for sure. Something I forgot to do at the very beginning, I always try to ask my guests, what is something that you are either watching a movie or a TV show or a book, does not have to be chronic illness or anything like that related, just in general, what are you watching right now?
Okay, so one, I'm a sucker for reality TV. Absolute sucker. Big
Yeah.
Brother right now, I'm in it. I'm in Big Brother. I'm here. Dancing with the Stars starts tomorrow, so I will be
Right.
booked. Ariana's on there, Charity from Bachelorette's on there, and
Oh,
Kyle Richards' husband, I don't know if they're still together, Mauricio from
oh,
Beverly Hills Housewives, he's on there. So it's going to be a good season.
it's gonna be a good season for sure.
Good season. Bravo. Anything Bravo.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Where can everyone find you?
Yes. So you can connect with me on Instagram at Chronically Fulfilled Life. There, or come to the website www.chronicallyfulfilledlife.com.
Perfect. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I really do appreciate
Thank
you
you. This
joining
was
me.
amazing.